So here we are in congressional debate. I posted phase 2 yesterday. Hey, Moses, glad you're back. I posted phase 1 last week. So if you guys don't mind, since there's only 6 of us, just turning your mics on for a minute and tell me where you're at, or show of hands. Show of hands, how many of you guys are still in phase 1? You're writing a bill or a resolution? Okay, if you guys don't have your cameras on, you can just use the raise hand feature too. Way I know. Okay, I see Haley, Caesar, and Brandon, and Jonathan. Megan, you're still there too. Cool. Haley, are you in phase 2 already? Okay. Moses, are you in phase 1 or 2? 2? Okay. Nuam, Von Dot, are you guys in phase 1 or 2?
I'm in phase 2.
Phase 2? Okay. All right. Nuam, how about you? Phase 1 or 2?
I'm not sure. Have
you done the write a bill or resolution part?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. So you're still in phase 1. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and start backwards and talk about phase 2 for those of you who are ready to move on. And then I'll get into phase 1 again if you guys are ready to be there. So if you're ready to move on, I posted phase 2. I just want to talk through a couple of the things you're going to see there, and then I'll take any questions you guys have. If you're still in phase 1 and you're not ready to hear this, I'm going to repeat this again next Monday when we come back from Thanksgiving break. So if you're not ready to hear it right now, just kind of, mute me for a minute. All right. So phase 2 people, here we go. Switch my tabs. So you guys are going to be doing 2 things in phase 2. You're going to write a speech, and I'll talk about that one. And then you're going to record a speech. So the write a speech is going to look like this. You have a template and you're literally writing it. Hopefully you guys are recognizing a lot of the same pieces you saw in SPAR debates and even in your pet peeve speech, right? You have a thesis and you're previewing your main points. You have an attention getter, reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and a conclusion. The new part is the works cited page, which I promise we will talk about today, because we haven't really talked about works cited or really persuasive appeal. So I'll talk about both of those things. So let me go ahead and show you guys a finished product. And this is also linked. So over here on the write a speech assignment, you'll see links for both the example template and you'll see your template. So here's the example. You'll see this speech was about 3 minutes long. You're going to do a background. Notice this attention getter is like 2 sentences. Your thesis and preview, like 1 sentence. And then these parts are not necessarily even full sentences, and that is okay. You can fill them out as you are speaking, just like you've done in every other speech where you've been able to add in kind of from your notes. Also, welcome new people. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Jasmine. We're talking about phase 2. And then your conclusion. There's not a works cited on here, but I'll walk you through that. The 2 things, well, I guess 3 things you need to know for this part is 1, you need to actually do the research. So you're going to have to do a little more digging on the databases, and I'm happy to show you how to do that again if you'd like me to. You're going to have to find some articles for your research, at least 3, in order to have a good variety. So you might wonder why teachers are always like, have more than 1 or have this many. It's because you want to have a good variety. If you just have 1 source, your writing can become really lopsided or one-sided. If you have multiples from different places, and that doesn't mean different databases, but different original publications, then you're more likely to have a better balanced and more well-rounded speech. So you'll need research, you will need to do a works cited, and you will need to use persuasive appeals. So let me start with databases that we've talked about. Does anybody want me to go over databases again? Raise your hand if you do, so I know. Anybody? Okay. I won't, but if you need me to talk about those again, please just holler at me. For some reason, when I'm on present, I can't see you guys. I'll go back over here quite as well. So let me know if I'm not seeing you. You can shout out or pop things in comments and I will read them. All right, so databases, check. Works cited. Let me show you how to do that. This is a lot like broadcasting. So if you did this for broadcasting, you're going to be good here. If you didn't do it for broadcasting, it might be a little bit harder. Remember that your databases, I'm going to switch again real quick. So if you are researching in databases, like I've asked you to, you're going to be able to just copy and paste and you won't need to know how to cite things. If you're looking at something from an online reliable news source, which is still valid, you won't be able to cite it. So I'll show you two ways. So again, if you're in the databases, right up here at the top, and it looks a little bit different on the SIRS issues one, but it's very similar. Click on the Cite button. This is already MLA 8th edition. Click Select, and then all you're going to do is just paste it right here. Oh, not that. Not the meet link. Sorry about that. You're going to copy it. Okay, select. I'll copy. And then you'll go over to your template and you'll paste. And that's literally all you have to do. You'll do that 3 times, 1 for each source. If you're using an online source, like a news magazine, a newspaper, a news source, you'll need to do what you did for broadcasting, where you go up to tools, citations, MLA, add a source. Most likely you'll be doing a website or a newspaper article, and then you'll go to that actual source again and fill in the information. If it was me, I would totally take the lazy but actually really well-researched route of doing the databases, because 1, all the stuff is great, and 2, it cites it for me. So you save yourself some headache and steps. Yeah? Okay. Third thing we need to talk about is persuasive appeals. And usually we do this in a little bit different way, but I just want to give you guys the highlights. You don't need to know all the fancy Greek names. If you're in AP Lang, you've heard them anyway. But just know that when you're writing, especially your reasons and your attention getter and your whole sponsorship speech, when you're trying to persuade someone, like in a debate, you want to use persuasive appeals. There are 3 kinds. There's an appeal to emotion. So you want to appeal to someone's how they feel, right? Make them feel a certain way. Usually strong self-interest or compassion or greed or jealousy or strong emotions. Think about things that advertisers use. So in your attention getter, you might want to give kind of a sappy story that kind of opens this up. As you're explaining your problem and why we should care about it, you might want to give it a human touch, give it a little bit of a human anecdote or a story that might make us feel something about your topic, why we should care. The one appeal we've talked about a lot that you used in SPAR, you use in all your speeches, is logic, research, evidence. You can have emotion, but you can't have that be your whole speech. You have to actually have some hardcore facts, data, evidence to back it up. So things from your sources, numbers, research, things like that. And then finally, you're going to need kind of an ethical appeal, like this is the right thing to do. Ethical appeal also is appeal to your own credibility. So the ways you can achieve that is by using really good research, by referencing solid sources. That gives you an appeal to your own credibility, because none of us are really experts on these topics, right? None of us are actually in Congress, but we can do research that makes us look like experts and makes us much more credible. Also, depending on what you're talking about, you can really lean on it's the right thing to do and explain why that's the right thing to do. Using all of those different techniques to reach your audience can really, really help make your sponsorship speech very persuasive for them. Okay, that was a lot all at once. What questions do you guys have for phase 2? None? Okay. Let me kind of skip ahead then and talk about the next piece. So the next piece after you write the speech, and remember that once you write it, you need to submit it to me. I need to read it, give you guys the go ahead and say, yeah, it's good, just like I'm doing for the bill. So once I've read it and I've said, yes, you're ready to go ahead, you're going to record the speech. This will probably be the easiest part of this because it's what you guys have done all semester, recording a speech. Especially once you know the speech is good itself, you're going to go ahead and go on to Flipgrid and record. So I'll kind of go back over here to Canvas. So that was what I just talked about, was write your speech. If you click on record here, you will see the links to Flipgrid for you guys to record. So a couple things to note, you will record on Flipgrid. I set your time a little bit longer. I set it at 5 minutes, even though the ideal time for this speech is 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3 minutes. What I didn't want you to have to do is like you get to like 3:30 and it cut you off at 3 minutes because Flipgrid only has so many times. So while you can go to 3:30 in 4 minutes and just lose points, I recommend sticking to the 2:30 to 3 range. But please keep in mind, you will have a little extra buffer there on Flipgrid where it won't just cut you off. If you look at the last slide and record the speech, it gives you a sense of how the speech is going to be graded. A lot of these are going to be things that if you write the speech well, and I've approved it, are already done. So this whole left side here is all about the content of your speech. Attention getter, thesis, claims, data, sources, warrant, conclusion. So if you, and I don't know why this isn't showing on here, but all the things on the left side there are things that, and I'll try to see if I can do that. There we go. All those things over here are things that you will have down pat if you've turned it into me, and you will know they're good. So what you're going to focus on in your actual recording is things more like your vocal qualities and your poise and your eye contact and your time. Now, I realize a lot of us are going to record seated, like I'm talking to you right now seated. So for poise, don't think about posture having to be standing, although you can. Think about like sitting up tall, right? Sitting up straight. You're not like laying around in bed, you know, you're not slouching. You're sitting up like you would for an actual speech. So for class, totally cool. For speeches, try to kind of look a little more professional as you're sitting there. One big thing I want to note is you'll notice if you add up all these points, this speech is worth 100 points. Given kind of the point values of some things we've done this semester, we've decided to make this part worth 50. Then your rebuttal will also be worth 50. So that means your total congressional debate is probably going to be still close to 200 points with both speeches and your bill and your speech templates. We just didn't want to make it worth a huge amount of points so that if you struggle with any part of this, or for those who are kind of like dropping out at the end of the semester, it would kill what you've done so far. So we left the rubric like this, and it will look like this on your rubric as well. Just know that whatever your grade is, we're just going to cut it in half. So if you score a 95, you're going to get a 42.5. And it's not that your actual, percentage is less. It's just that the amount of points is lower. Okay, questions on that? Haven't seen any hands or comments yet, so I'll take that as a good thing. So that is really all of phase 2. It is the write and record. Please notice the due dates. I'm going to try to zoom in so you guys can see this better. There we go. You want more. So notice that neither of these things are due officially until December 4th. So if you would like to do them before that, if you would like to turn them in early and get my feedback on them and get ready to do phase 3, awesome. If you are still sitting there like, no, can't do it right now, I'm still in phase 1 and I'm trying to take a break for Thanksgiving, that's fine too. When I see you guys in a week, I'm going to do what I'm doing today. I'm going to review phase 2 and then we'll get into phase 3. So if that's you, that's okay. You can hop on there. Do note my time for responding and replying over Thanksgiving break might be a little bit slower. I do plan to check my email in Canvas at least once a day, but it might be like I check it in the evening one day and like the morning one day and the evening the next day. So it might be a little bit longer. I do plan to actually get stuff back to you though. So if you want to keep recording and working, you can. Cool? Okay. Let me go ahead and skip back over to phase one then for anybody who has questions on phase one. So if you're still in phase one, most of you guys heard me talk about database practice last week. Does anybody still have questions on database practice? Okay. Write a bill or resolution, but that is the part where you guys are actually going to come up with what you want to argue about. That comes from your research and database practice from the topic that you care about, but you're going to choose to actually write legislation. So it's going to look like this. You're going to draft a bill to establish a specific policy or a resolution to do something. So you're doing one of the two. You're not doing two. You're just doing one. If you did two, I sent it back to you and told you to change it and give it back to me. So you have to pass this step to get on to phase two. So pretty please make sure that you're turning this in. You'll notice it says on your Canvas that you have to score at least, here we go, score at least 16 to move on. So you notice that. Remember that the directions are on Canvas. I'm going to share this tab. You'll see these directions for what a bill should be. Ms. Berghoff will review for you what that looks like. And then she walks you through how to write a bill or how to write a resolution with some examples. So you guys will see all of that on there. And then you will see this beautiful template where you can choose either bill or resolution. Neither one is long, and neither one is going to require you to cite your works cited. But it makes a lot of sense thinking about your sponsorship speech in the next phase for you to use the information you gain from your research to come up with this bill or resolution, and then use that same research to argue for it. Does that make sense? Okay. What questions do you guys have on phase one? Any? Okay. I am going to stick in comments that link to the attendance form. I'm going to stop presenting for just a minute to do that. Can I do it here? Let me see if I can hop off and hop back on real quick, okay? There we go. Let me join. There we go. Now I can hop back on. There we go. That should work. Okay, so what I'm sending to you guys now is the link for you guys to fill out that says you're here. It also gives me a chance to hear from you guys if you have questions or how I can help you. Once you fill it out, please do not leave. Give me a chance to read through it so that I can get back to you with answers while you're still on here. So stick around, fill out the form. Whatever you say your goal is, go ahead and start working on that goal. I'm going to try some breakout rooms here in just a minute based on your goals and kind of put us all in a different room so we can chat individually.